We go on to the second race of the Superkarts. A quick wave there from Lee Harpham, starting there on pole position, and alongside him is the two karts of Liam Morley, the winner earlier on today. And as Liam said, it's nice to get back onto the top step of the podium. And then we work our way back to the second row of the grid. Got the 87 of Jack Tritton. So the grid positions for this second race based on the driver's fastest lap from the earlier race. So we've got Harpham and Morley on the front row. We've got the 84 of Matt Robinson, Jack Tritton on row 2. Away from Matt Robinson. And we go back to row 3 and the 24 kart of Tom Rushford, the Spider chassis, actually first driven by Tom at the previous round at Snetterton, so a new chassis for him, and seems to be going quite well towards the tail end of the season. Alongside Tom Rushford was the 8 kart of Andy Gulliford, and then heading row 4, the Parker Motorsport driver, that's the 29 kart of Tom Hatfield. Tom quite happy with things at the moment, stepping out of his kart, but 29 of Tom Hatfield. Alongside Tom is the 55 kart of Ross Withrow. Ross we saw spin at Old Hall in that earlier race, but no major damage done, and the 55 kart of Ross Withrow takes up a slot on row 4. Row 5 we've got the 42 kart of Tom Riley and 3 of Carl Hume. Row 6 we see the first of the monos, and that's the 101 of Lee Plain. Picked up maximum points in that earlier race, and Lee heads up row 6, joined by the 15 kart of Luke Clemson, who watching the footage back, escaped a fairly big scare coming into a large corner, but kept it all together, and Luke Clemson takes up a spot on row 6. Row 7 is the 9 kart of Paul Von Gerard, and he's joined by the S1 of Paul Platt. Row 8, 72 kart of Richard Jewett and the 56 of Michael Goff. Row 9, 49 Michael Parr and the 35 kart of Samantha Hempshall. Samantha also got caught up in that first corner incident, but managed to get the kart back on track and completed the race, albeit I think he was down in 10th place in class, so losing valuable points in the series. Row 10, the 107 of Aaron Powell and the 36 of Tom Baldwin. Row 11, the 50 of John Busby and the 132 of Jordan Bailey. Row 12, 161 of Richard Connick and 74 of Will Lawrence. So even though Will threw the kart into the kitty litter at Lodge Corner, obviously his lap time was quick enough to get him a spot on row 12. Row 13, 92 Ben Ardham. Ben also had issues in that earlier race. And he's joined by first the 450s, that's the 26 kart of Rhoda McClintock. Row 14, 59, another of the 450s, that's Nick Flint, and he's joined by the 115 of Mark Radford. Row 15, 95, Daniel Lanson, and 62 of Andy Powell. Row 16, the 12 of Kevin Ridley, and the 147 of Chris Balderson. Row 17, the 66 of John Faulkner. Unfortunately, John had a spin in that earlier race, but no damage done, and John will be back out on the circuit for this one. And he's joined by the 143 of John Reeder. John dropped out in the earlier race when the cylinder head came loose, and consequently there was a lot of water got sucked into the crankcases, so certainly trying to fire the engine up earlier on in the paddock, it didn't sound particularly brilliant, so we may not see the 143 of John Reeder in this one. And the 18th final row, 47 of Aaron Mail and the 81 of Ian Challoner. With a dry track, obviously all the karts now on slick tyres for this one. Obviously it's a case of adjusting the tyre pressures accordingly as to what will give them the maximum grid potential. And the kart's being pushed out behind the safety car to start their rolling lap. So as it stands in the championship, well, say the Division 1 category already confirmed for the GP karts of Lee Harpham, and the 87 Jack Tritton confirmed in second place. But now in third place, after that win earlier on, Liam Morley has moved up to third place on 218 points, and he's 9 points ahead of 24 karts of Tom Rashford. Fifth is 3 karts on Carl Hume on 195, and sixth is Andy Gulliford on 170. But the championship that's keeping everybody's attention at the moment is the Mono Championship. Drop scores will be starting to come into play in this race, but to keep it simple at the moment, Paul Platt on 336 leads the lead plane by 7 points coming into this race. So all to play for with these final 2 races to go. Samantha Hempshall dropped down to 3rd place on 308. So it's between those 3 drivers as to who is going to lift the Mono Championship. 4th is the 107 of Aaron Powell on 266, and 5th is the 49 kart of Michael Parr on 226. 450s is still to be decided between Ronan McClintock and Nick Flint, but the 26 kart of Ronan McClintock, 241 points at the moment, and Nick Flint 222.
Not a very good start for the number 9 driver of Paul von Gerard. He came off onto the grass at Cascades, which was not the best start for the second race of the afternoon for the Superkarts, but he's back on. I think he'll have to therefore start at the very back of this brilliantly large grid. We've got 36 karts all coming through Nickerberg now.
Yeah, I can see the pictures on the screen, James. It's nice to see that they've actually got a nice dry track around there as well. I'm not sure as they come up to Druids, obviously with the trees overhanging that part of the circuit, but looking on the screens, it looks as if it's nice and dry through Druids. Not well, it can be a very scary corner, that one.
It's actually raining down here, and so just to warn all the drivers, they've got the yellow and red slippery surface flag out, as if they've still got that flag out just in case.
Right, okay.
They weren't aware it was raining. It's very light rain, but they are just being warned.
A driver's worst nightmare when it's just a little bit of drizzle. And in fact, there's a few people in the pit lane putting their arms open, looking up to the skies. And Tom Hatfield did have a bit of a problem in the dummy grid area, and will be starting from the pit lane. Now, lights are still on the safety car, and we are going around for a second lap, and obviously this is because we haven't had a race in dry conditions, so it's a case of trying to get some more heat into the tyres on this second warming up lap. Still getting a bit confused, thinking the race is underway, and a little bit of confusion and contact, I think, as they go down the avenue. So a few of the drivers thinking the race was already underway, and you might find, if you can see from your commentary box, James, there might be a couple of karts that might have just dropped off onto the grass on the way down through Cascades.
I think I'm glad to say that all the karts have actually made it through Cascades, which is brilliant news. There were a few that seemed to think they could overtake, but they then thought they were suddenly the better of it, and they decided to start to weave and warm their tyres up all of a sudden, realising that they weren't meant to overtake.
Well, the trouble is, obviously, the safety car in front, and obviously if you're on the back 2 or 3 rows, you're not necessarily going to be able to see the car in the distance, but I think common sense would say that if everyone's going at racing speed, then it's on, but everyone treating a bit of respect to these conditions. And usually the drivers, something that's been done in the past, is that when they're going round on a second lap, they do tend to put their arm in the air and do a circling motion just to indicate to the guys behind, hang on, we're not starting, we've still got another lap, so just don't do anything stupid.
It's probably a very different position to drive in as well, a lot lower down, so probably much harder to see that safety car if you're further down the grid.
Exactly. So we can see the cars going through the Approx section now. Andy Gulliford for the 8 cars, had a couple of issues at Snetterton with some pump failure, but Andy, a driver to look out for, starting there on the 3rd row of the grid. Now, they've all got rain lights on, I can see, as they head up Clay Hill. Normally the rain lights would indicate if you were running on wet tyres, but perhaps it's been advisory by the scrutineers that because the conditions are, shall we say, changeable, it's for safety's sake to put your red light is on at the start line gantry.
And it's dry Knickerbrook at the moment.
So the safety car and the pack will appear at Lodge Corner fairly soon. Lights have gone off the safety car as he brings them into Lodge Corner, so we will be going for a start this time around. It's another 12-minute race, so we'll be looking for 7 laps. Wheels off, that's the job of the GP cars. Slow first gear rolling to bring them up to the line here alongside the 2 cars. Lights out, and we are going racing. Matt Robinson with a fantastic start from the second row, and it's Robinson that's got the inside line, but and Lee Harpham tries to make it 3 abreast, and there's a little bit of a squirrely moment for Lee Harpham, but rather than see no contact, and it's the 84 cart of Matt Robinson that leads the way. There are several carts that have gone off on the outside of, well actually one cart has been stranded on the outside of Old Hall, but down to you, James.
Yeah, that 84 car of Matt Robinson looks like he might have even taken the overall lead going through Cascades. I think 84 of Matt Robinson now leads the race, with very close in behind him Lee Harpham and Liam Morley very much right with the number 84 of Matt Robinson as they go through the Sherrills hairpin for the first time. And yes, it does look like Matt Robinson has taken the lead. Then we have Liam Morley and Lee Harpham in the top 4 still. There is a cart, I think it might be Jack Tritton, who's also overtaken Harpham and Morley. It's very close indeed between the leading 4 as they now come back down into Knickerbrook. It is 84 that leads from in second position. We have Lee Harpham, third is Liam Morley, fourth then is the number 8 car of Griffith, and then we go to 5th position, which is the 87 car of Jack Tritton, who's moving 4th to 5th. And that's the leading 5 as they go up Clay Hill. So it is at this stage Lee Harpham who has the lead, Matt Robinson who's second, Liam Morley who is third, Andy Gifford who is fourth, and Jack Tritton who is fifth. Last time I saw them.
Okay, well it's Robinson that leads into Lodge, followed by Harpham and Morley. That's your top 3. I did notice that Ross Witherow had gone straight on at the Knickerbrook chicane, but here come the 3 leaders, and Harpham looking up the inside as they go into, gets it a bit sideways against Old Hall, but Matt Robinson still holds on to that lead from the GP car of Lee Harpham, and it's Liam Morley still there in 3rd place. Those 3 have broken clear of the 8 cart of Andy Gulliford, and I can see Ross Witherow still there, but I think he did go through the chicane, but and the problem for Andy Gulliford, the 8 cart slowing up as they go down towards Island Bend, but it's now Harpham up into the lead from Robinson as they go through Shell Oils for this second time.
We have yellow flags at Cascades, can't quite see why, but I think a cart has gone off somewhere at Cascades. A cart in the mid-division seems to have gone off and gone wide. I can't see which one it is. We've meanwhile got the 8 of Griffith, who's also very slow, or might even come to a halt at Island Bend. The leaders are back here. We have Lee Harpham at Knickerbrook with the lead. Hot on his heels is Matt Robinson in the 84 of the orange. Then comes Liam Morley in third, and Troy are ahead of the rest of the field. Fourth is the 55 card of Ross Witherow, and he's being challenged all the time by, I think, Tom Hatfield in the 29 as they go up Clay Hill. But the leader continues to Matt Robinson in the 84, chased all the time by Lee Harpham, and Liam Morley's hot on that pair's heels too.
Yeah, it was the 87 of Jack Tritton that was keeping Ross Witherow a little bit busy as they went through Druids and under the Warwick Bridge. But here come the leaders again to complete 2 laps, and Harpham extending his lead, and Morley now up into second place ahead of Matt Robinson. But Morley, well actually the timing screen hasn't picked up Liam Morley yet. It's not showing his tracks.
Meanwhile, number 49 Michael Parr, the yellow cart does seem to be having some troubles. It's going very slowly indeed, and now it seems to have pulled off going up Clay Hill.
And the 132 of
the 132 has just gone straight into the barriers going up Clay Hill. So the 132 looks like he's quite seriously damaged at the front. That won't be going any further, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Jordan Bailey out of the car, but I don't think Harper's a bit damaged on the front end, but certainly the driver's safely out. But it's still Harper that's leading the way with Morley and Robinson not far behind in second and third.
Yeah, and he's got quite a good lead now, Harper. Morley in second position, and Robinson overcooks it ever so slightly, gets a real slide out of Nicker Brook, but he's managed to get things moving again in third position. But we go to a red flag, so a red flag has been declared.
Yeah, I think that's because of the dangerous position of the 132 car of Jordan Bailey as they go up Clay Hill. So the race will be nullified now. Obviously the officials would try and run it under a safety car if possible, but with karts in a dangerous position. And I think I did see Jordan Bailey get out of the car, but he was certainly limping as he stepped away to try and get to the tyre wall. But medical car now out on the circuit, and karts will come back into pit lane. So hopefully with 7 minutes 20 left on the clock, the karts will come into pit lane, and hopefully we'll get a restart once everything has been cleared up and we are safe to go racing. So fastest lap so far went the way of the GP of Lee Harper, 1:39.1. So as you can see, still about 3 seconds off the earlier pace. Looking out of the commentary box window, and yes, certainly everyone on slick tyres, but if the track's still a little bit greasy, a bit of a conflab between a couple of drivers and the officials as to what is the situation. Looking further back, the mono class is shaping up nicely with Paul Platt, the S1 car, leading the monos from the 101 of Lee Plain, and with only 7 points separating those two, it could go down to the final race of the day. And Ben Arden, the 92 car, it's also going very well in third spot in class, and Samantha Hempshall, they're another of the championship potential drivers. 35 kart, Samantha Hempshall, fourth in class, and leading the 450s was the 59 of Nick Flint, with Rona McClintock a few places further back in second in the 450s. So everyone lining up in the pit lane, awaiting confirmation from the officials as to when we are ready to go. So just to fill in some details on the superkarts, and probably for your benefit as well, James, is Division 1 superkarts, 250cc, twin cylinder inline, 6-speed water cooled, probably about, the quick ones, about 100 brake horsepower, and top speed nudging just slightly over 140 miles an hour. As you can see, the lap record around the Oulton Park circuit is 102 mile an hour average. I'm not quite sure on the full international circuit, James, actually, which is the quickest part of the circuit. I would have thought possibly the run down to Shellows Hairpin through a very fast left-hander through Island Bend, which is very brave to do flat out in one of these. But that's the spec for the Division 1. The 250 monos, that's the white plates with the black numbers. Once again, a 250cc engine. Single cylinder this time, and only 5-speed, but once again a water-cooled engine, and brake horsepower probably about 65 plus brake horsepower. And then the final class we've got on show today, the 454 stroke category, the only 4-stroke category in karting. 454 stroke single cylinder, once again water-cooled, and that's 5-speed, and BHP probably about 60-65, so comparable quick ones with the 250 mono championship. back up on the live stream, the 143 of John Reader, and the clock has gone down to 0, James, on the TSL timing screen, and I'm hoping that we are going to get a restart, obviously, as days unfold, and I think we've got a 6:30 curfew, is it, here at Oulton Park, so time starts to march on. But in fact, this race should have started at 4:05, so I think we did manage to get them out onto the grid slightly earlier than the original start time.
One man who didn't have a very good start at all, he said he came off on the second bend, was Paul von Gerard in the number 9 cart, and well, he's re-emerged, he's back on track, and he's taken this opportunity to go back to the pit lane, and hopefully he might even, if this race were to restart, I don't know whether that is definitely an if, then Paul von Gerard in number 9 might even be able to race.
Okay, well, I'm looking down the pit lane, I can see the green cart of John Faulkner, the 66 cart, and Paul, as you say, if he's managed to get the cart restarted. The difference with, in fact, Paul von Gerard's cart, it's obviously a Division 1 250 twin cylinder, but he's actually got two 125 engines mounted either side of the driver, so rather than a one single 250cc engine, he's eligible to actually run two 125 engines, and the cart was the British Championship winning cart of Ross Allen from I think 2-3 years ago. And that looks like, yes, Paul von Gerard just coming into pit lane now under his own steam, so hopefully whatever the issue was on that opening lap, Paul can put that behind him.
Gary, do we know if this race may restart, or what's happening?
Well, the TSL timing screen has come up with 12 minutes on the clock, which was the original race distance, but we have actually completed, what, 2 laps. So I'd expect the race time to possibly drop down to either 8 or 10 minutes, but nothing has come up yet.
And if you are anywhere else around the track, I can report that here at Knickerbrook, where the incident was with that cart, all is cleared up. The driver has been taken away.
This is the 132 of George Bailey that went off up Clay Hill, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's the only cart that's the whole reason we stopped, wasn't it?
Well, I think so, yes. I didn't see anything else come up on the screen, and obviously it was in a precarious place on the right-hand side as they go up Clay Hill, so obviously if somebody else went off there and collected the cart, then that wouldn't be good news. So a good close-up shot of John Faulkner's Alfano data logging system that he's got on the 66 cart. I won't be slightly biased, but say that obviously that is supplied by the company that I'm dealing with. So good to see John out on circuits. Had a bit of an off actually at Darley Moor earlier on this month, so good to see John back out in track, and John running the FPE twin cylinder engine. Most of the Division 1 drivers are using the Czech Republic engine of the VM, which seems to be the engine of choice these days, but if anybody was involved in superkarts back in the 80s and 90s, it was the Rotax inline tandem twin that originally was being used in the World Championship motorcycle racing, so that was a quick crossover for people to start using Rotax, but these engines are now purpose built for superkart racing. And the VM, so the engine of choice. In the 250 monos, Paul Platt runs a gas, but Lee Plain and Samantha Hempshaw and most of the other front runners are running the Italian DEA engine. Once again, a purpose-built superkart motor, and drivers trying to find out what is going to be the next course of action. Obviously any restart will be in single file once they've done a safety car lap. And the worst case scenario now, James, is that they're all sitting around waiting for the race to start, and we suddenly get some horrible weather arrive, which is not going to do anybody any favours at all.
Certainly not impossible today, is it? But
No,
it looks to me like we might have been waiting for the cart to be loaded onto this flatbed. Its orange lights flashing down here at Knickerbrook on the way up to Clay Hill, but it looks like the cart has now been loaded onto that flatbed, and hopefully for all the drivers we might be able to get racing again.
yeah. So while we've got a couple of quiet moments, I can fill you in with a little bit of posted history, shall we say. So the two-kart of Liam Morley, and what's his background? Well, he won the Grand Prix in 2010, and this was when he was racing in the 125 category. And then I think he was the first driver to actually win the double Grand Prix in 2016 at Oulton Park, when he won the Division 1 Grand Prix and the 125 Open class. So a busy day for Liam at Donington back in 2016. Won the 125 Championship again in 2017, 10 wins, and again in 2018. And then switched to the Division 1 category on a regular basis in 2018. He finished second in the CIK European Superkart Championship in 2019. But Lee Harpham can go one better, because Lee Harpham was actually the CIK European Superkart champion in 2012. So some of these guys have been racing superkarts at this level for certainly some years, and a lot of experience that these guys have raced in the UK and Europe. And when you see I think it's 60 karts on the grid at the Assen TT circuit in Holland, that is a fantastic sight. But Liam Morley more recently actually hasn't won the Division 1 championship since 2020, when he picked up 6 wins, but 5th, 4th, 2nd, and he was 2nd in the 23 series with 9 wins. But we had a dramatic finale here last year, and it was down to Jack Tritton and Liam Morley, as Matt Robinson gives me a wave from the pit lane. So it looks like the drivers are starting to get crash helmets back on again and get back into their machines. Matt Robinson also likes the Oulton Park circuit and got a couple of wins here a couple of years ago. So there's a fairly good classic shot of him coming through Island Bend flat out, and with a clear visor you can actually see the eyes of the driver as he's going through Island Bend at probably 120, 130 miles an hour. So I must think, while we've got a quiet moment, Dave Harvey of Harvey Motorsports, he's stumped up some of the sponsorship money this weekend to actually pay for the live streaming, which is expertly done as usual by Barry Welch and his Digitech TV team. So Superkarts, always good to see them get some coverage. It will be on the British Superkarts, and I think actually it's been called, yep, so the race result has been called at that 3 laps or 2 laps. So that's come up on my screen, James, is the Clio Cup going out ready for race 11. So that's going to be a reduced race, and Superkarts will hopefully be out again for their 3rd race at 6:05. So I'm not sure that the karts actually realise that, but they're still all lined up in pit lane. So I'm wondering actually, are they going to be running the Clio Cup now and then restart the karts? Okay, so we are going to get a second Superkart race. So the karts already lined up, ready for getting back on track after this 20-minute Clio Cup. So I'll hand back to Jack, and we'll see the Superkarts back on track later.
Slightly early, the 4 Clios making their way around the track for what is race number 11 this afternoon, and they've already provided us with a thrilling race earlier on. This is the penultimate weekend for the Clio Cup. There you can go and see the final rounds 11 and 12 at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit on the 26th of October, which I'm sure will be thrilling. So the Clio's just making their way towards the Cheshire hairpin behind the safety car.
So here is the grid for the second race for the Clio Cup GB. It will be Ben Colburn that lines up on pole position ahead of Nicky Taylor. So it's a Westbourne Motorsport and Graves Motorsport row 1, and on row 2 of the grid we have Ben Jenkins and Dara Flock. Now Dara, he finished the race earlier on in what is 3rd place, albeit we'll be starting this race in 4th, obviously going off of qualifying this morning, so hence the change in that regard. So Dara Flock has a bit of driving to do, is probably the nicest way to put it for this one, because we know that Dara, he is a racer. He wants to get wins, podiums, absolutely every point he can get his hands on, but he's got to do it all again from the back of the grid this time. Ben Colburn, as we've seen, starting on pole position. Nicky Taylor, he is now, a point back, I think, in the championship. 2 points back between himself and Ben Colburn. So Nicky, as far as he's aware, needs to make this work. He needs to finish in front of Ben Colburn to retake the championship lead and go into the final 2 races of the 2024 Clio Cup GB season in the lead of the championship, putting himself in the best position possible to take that championship trophy. And if anything, James, this just proves you don't need cars or grids of 30 cars to make a close championship. They are 4 cars incredibly close together, and away they go. That's how quick we are getting things turned around here at Oulton Park. Ben Colburn gets a brilliant start. Nicky Taylor gets a poor start. Ben Jenkins, what an amazing start. He's already looking for 2nd place. He doesn't make it work. Dara Flock is now trying to go around the outside of Nicky Taylor, which does go well, and Ben Colburn runs slightly wide. That allows Nicky Taylor up the inside, potentially for the race lead. They arrive into your sight. Nicky Taylor leading the way. Ben Colburn down into 2nd place, and Dara Flock picks up 3rd from Ben Jenkins.
Yeah, so that remains the leading order as Dara Flock tries to go around the outside of Ben Colburn as they go towards Island Bend. It is Nicky Taylor who gets a slightly bigger lead and advantage over the 2nd place Ben Colburn, white and red Clio. Then comes Dara Flock in 3rd, and then in 4th position the LDR Performance Tuning sponsored Ben Jenkins entry is in 4th place as they go around the Shell Oils hairpin for the first time, and Nicky Taylor keeps the lead. So little change on the opening lap so far. It is Nicky Taylor who leads the way, Ben Colburn in 2nd place, and then the 22 of Dara Flock in 3rd, and then comes Ben Jenkins in 4th as they go through the Britain chicane for the first time, and they crown the hilltop and they come back down. It is still Nicky Taylor who leads. Ben Colburn has Dara Flock right alongside him. He's going to attempt to take 2nd second off Ben Colburn, but instead he misses his braking point, goes straight on through the Knickerbrook escape road, and he emerges still in third place. And then in fourth continues to be Ben Jenkins, so it is Nicky Taylor who will lead them up Clay Hill, with Ben Colburn slightly behind in second. Darragh Flock re-emerged in exactly where he left off when he left the track at Knickerbrook.
He did indeed, but Nicky Taylor's lead is just starting to extend that little bit. He's doing what he needs to do. We mentioned it at the start. He wants to get just that little bit closer to the 2024 Clio Cup GB Championship. However, Ben Colburn on the brakes on the running towards Lodge Corner, so much later on the brakes, so too was Darragh Flock, and immediately that lead that we saw extending has opened up once again. So now we've got Nicky Taylor and the big pressure. He's gone from what, half a second clear to a quarter of a second clear. We arrive in towards turn one. Nicky Taylor holds on to the lead. The slightly more, we always find that car is slightly stiffer sprung than the rest, and it was proven by 3 wheels on the run through turn one. Darragh Flock bouncing over the curbs, top 3 with you.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor still has the lead. That gap has been closed significantly by Ben Colburn in second position, and Darragh Flock once again tries to go up the inside but thinks the better of it and stays firmly planted in third place behind Ben Colburn. Jenkins continues to sit in fourth position as Nicky Taylor is chased all the time into the Shell Oils hairpin by Ben Colburn. Round the outside, Darragh Flock attempts to go, but he thinks the better of that once again, and they now come back out of that corner, and it is still Nicky Taylor in that bright yellow Clio who has the lead. Ben Colburn sits in second position, then comes Darragh Flock in third, and the order change doesn't change at all as they go over the curbs that lead them out of Britain's, over Hilltop and back into sight. It is still Nicky Taylor with the lead. Will Ben Colburn attempt to try and overtake Taylor this time? He decides against it, so does Flock. They all stay in a line on the fastest line. Flock tries to think about going up the inside out of Knickerbrook of Colburn. He thinks the better of that as well. He goes slightly wide on the exit and now goes up Clay Hill, and Ben Jenkins still sits in fourth position. Nicky Taylor leads them into Druids.
Yeah, he does indeed. Nicky Taylor, the Dayglow yellow and orange machine, still trying to run away from the predominantly white with Dayglow orange flashes of Ben Colburn. Darragh Flock, predominantly blue and white, still giving chase on the brakes in towards Lodge Corner. This is where we see the 2 Westbourne Motorsport cars close in of Ben Colburn and Darragh Flock. Ben Jenkins working his way through Lodge Corner now and still giving chase for the rest of that top 3, but Nicky Taylor ticks another lap in the book in the lead of the race, with the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1 minute 56.536, so he extends the margin from a quarter of a second up to just over 3/10 of a second. Nicky Taylor again, he just needs to manage this race. It's still got 15 minutes to go, so if he can control it from the front and potentially build that gap yet more, that will be what he needs to do, because the 2 Westbourne cars, whilst they are teammates, they will fight when they need to, but in the meantime they're going to focus on working together and catching up their main championship rival.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor keeps the lead. Colburn was slightly spooked by Darragh Flock trying to go up his outside there, and did slide ever so slightly going in a straight line down Lakeside, and Flock did exactly the same. I think they hit a slight patch of the damp stuff going through Island Bend, and then Ben Jenkins still sits firmly in 4th position. So the 4 cars all shod with Michelin tyres are still led by Nicky Taylor as they go through the Britain's chicane, and he still has the lead, and the margin he leads by doesn't seem to have closed either. It's about 3/10 of a second last time they passed the start finish line, and it doesn't seem to have changed as Flock and Colburn decide to just stay firmly behind Nicky Taylor. Neither of them decide to overtake, but now Colburn seems to have closed the gap more on Nicky Taylor, and he may well attempt to overtake into Druids as they go up Clay Hill. Nicky Taylor in the bright yellow Clio has the lead. Colburn still sits in second as they go into Druids, and then Flock still in third.
So Flock still in third place, trying to again just keep tabs on his Westbourne Motorsport teammate further up the road under the Warwick Bridge, then on the brakes, but a bit of a front lock up there from Nicky Taylor. Tries to correct it by turning in slightly early, does so very nicely indeed. If anything, that may have just gained him a little bit of time as the car got pulled in towards the apex. However, I think Ben Colburn might be a bit closer this time as they all trade for the fastest lap of the race. It was Nicky Taylor on a 1:55.738. It was then Ben Colburn on a 1:55.666, and then Dara Flock got it on a 1:55.456. So the top three all trading for fastest laps of the race. Ben Jenkins over the line, still giving chase for those cars up the road and lapping within a second of race leader Nicky Taylor. But Nicky now under the biggest pressure he has been all race. Ben Colburn's well and truly there, isn't he?
He absolutely is. He looks closer than ever, and the timing screen says he's closer than ever, with only 2/10 between him and Nicky Taylor. There's exactly the same margin between Colburn and Flock as they head into the island hairpin, into the Shells Oils hairpin for the fourth time. It is still Nicky Taylor with the lead. Colburn is right on his tail, but Dara Flock is on his tail as well, so there is maximum pressure on both Colburn and Nicky Taylor here, with Dara Flock eyeing both of them up as they go out of the Britain's chicane and back over Hilltop. And it is still Nicky Taylor with the lead. Then in second position is Ben Colburn. Dara Flock did have a brief look down the outside, but still they're still waiting for their moment to overtake. They're on a drying track, improving grip all the time as they go back up Clay Hill. Nicky Taylor defending every move by Ben Colburn, and Colburn sits in second, Flock still in third, and Ben Jenkins still sits in fourth position.
He does indeed. Through Druids, the lead trio go. Nicky Taylor continuing to manage this race from the front, just doing what he can to keep Ben Colburn behind without compromising himself too much by way of a defence. And Dara Flock, I'm sure, will be getting rather impatient behind as well, because he wants to try and not only get past his Westbourne Motorsport teammate, but also take the lead away from Nicky Taylor. But if he does so, that's going to put Ben Colburn on the back foot. Nicky Taylor responds with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:55.258. So line astern, they work their way in towards Old Hall Corner, along the avenue and in towards Denton's. Back into your sight in a few moments' time. I've got a feeling Dara Flock, he's now trying to apply that pressure onto Westbourne Motorsport stablemate Ben Colburn.
He certainly is, and they are closer than ever, this free. And Nicky Taylor still has the lead. Ben Colburn didn't attempt to overtake going down Lakeside, and then Dara Flock is just waiting to see if he can overtake the pair of them at some point. And then Ben Jenkins still in fourth position as these four 1,030 kilo machines make their way round the Shell Oils hairpin for the fifth time of asking. The order remains unchanged, as Dara Flock did briefly look at the inside, but I don't think anything of that as they go out through Britain's chicane and go back up Hilltop. Nicky Taylor is keeping the same line as he does every time. It's clearly the fastest one. They all follow him and stick to him like glue. And it is Nicky Taylor who leads the way through Knickerbrook. Ben Colburn in second, and third Dara Flock, and there really is nothing between this trio of cars as they go up Clay Hill. And there must be huge pressure now on Nicky Taylor in that bright yellow Clio. From in second position Ben Colburn, third to Dara Flock, and Ben Jenkins in fourth.
Ben Jenkins continuing to just keep tabs with those cars up the road. Nicky Taylor, he's now under more and more pressure from Ben Colburn as they work their way underneath the Warwick Bridge. Nicky Taylor decides to go defensive, places the car in the middle of the road, just wanders over very slightly in the braking zone. Contact between the pair of them. Ben Colburn pushing Nicky Taylor through the final corner. That compromises his exit, so Ben Colburn now under pressure from Dara Flock, his Westbourne Motorsport teammate. Over the line the pair of them go side by side. If they compromise themselves in towards turn one, it will cost them a little bit of time. Dara Flock nicks his way up the inside and takes second place away with 10 minutes on the clock. The two Westbourne cars have changed for second place, but Nicky Taylor holds on to the lead. It's further away from those two cars behind than ever.
Yeah, and he goes quarter of a second quicker as well, 1:52.25 for Nicky Taylor that time. Quarter of a second faster. Dara Flock, though, has just overtaken Ben Colburn going down Lakeside, and Dara Flock takes second position. Ben Colburn is in third, and then comes Ben Jenkins in fourth position. So it is Taylor, Flock, Colburn and Jenkins as they go round the Shell Oils hairpin for the sixth time. And it is still Nicky Taylor with the lead. Dara Flock now is his nearest pursuer, and Colburn relegated to third place, and then Ben Jenkins in fourth. They go through Britain's chicane, back uphill they go. Nicky Taylor continues to have the lead, and it looks like he may have extended that lead ever so slightly to more than 3/10, maybe it's 4/10, but it seems to have shrunk once more as they go into the braking zone at Knickerbrook. And it is now Nicky Taylor with Darragh Flock closer than ever by the looks of it. He's really closed up as they go up Clay Hill. It is Nicky Taylor now has a wing mirrors full of a blue car in the form of Darragh Flock. Ben Colburn is in third position, and Ben Jenkins continues in fourth as they go into the footbridge for the sixth time.
They do indeed. Through Druids once again, 8.5 minutes remaining on the clock. A bit of a wobble on the exit of Druids from Darragh Flock. Nicky Taylor decides he's not close enough this time to go for the move, so just bides his time and takes his normal line on the run through the final corner at Lodge. Over Deer Leap they will go. Darragh Flock now starting to apply the pressure more and more as they come towards the line. Nicky Taylor decides to go to the inside to go defensive, just to try and force Darragh Flock the long way around. He can afford himself the outside and the widest run on the run in towards turn number one. So Nicky Taylor holds on to the lead from Darragh Flock. Then Ben Colburn, he's fallen away quite substantially, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has actually. He's no longer challenging for the lead, that's for sure. And Darragh Flock is now going to go alongside. Oh, and Ben Colburn spins his car and goes, oh my good God, he's pirouetted, did a 360-degree turn, then landed on his roof once, bounced again, and landed on his roof twice. He's now hanging in mid-air at 90 degrees to the ground, and his all four wheels are 90 degrees to the ground, and I don't think we'll be staying with a green flag for very much longer at all, as Ben Colburn had quite a spectacular incident all on his own going down Lakeside. So there are marshals at Lakeside attempting to right that vehicle because it is currently on its side. I'm not sure the leading drivers are aware of this. We do have yellow flags, but not at Knickerbrook, so a race is still on if we now go to a safety car. So the race has been neutralised to a safety car.
It has indeed, and yeah, so unfortunate for Ben Colburn. You will be able to see from your position, we're just hoping that he is okay and hoping that he gets out.
Yeah, fantastic news. Ben Colburn jumps out of that car. Looking rather annoyed, but he looks like all his limbs are in fine working order. That's fantastic news. The car, we can't say the same for that, I'm afraid.
That has to be the main thing, that Ben Colburn is out of the car under his own steam and walking away. Granted, sort of emotionally you'd imagine that would be quite jarring, but physically at least he is out of the car. He might wake up with maybe a few sore joints in the morning, and you may find what you tend to find with racing drivers, now we know he's okay, you just get a little pain at the top of your left thigh, usually where your wallet sits. That's normally where racing drivers get a small pain following an incident like. But Ben Colburn, great news, out of the car, and hats off to the Oulton Park marshals, immediately on the scene, doing what they can to make sure that Ben Colburn is okay. So the safety car has been deployed, as you say, with 5 minutes remaining. Nicky Taylor, Darragh Flock and Ben Jenkins, the three cars that continue on behind the safety car, and this may be for the first time where they see exactly what had happened. And Darragh Flock, I'm sure, as much as anyone will see that and think, oh, that's my teammate, that's far from ideal. But not to take away anything from Ben Colburn, he had a sterling race up until that point, didn't he?
Absolutely, challenging for the lead in the race earlier on today, and challenging for the lead for a better part of most of the race we've just been watching. So a shame that it came to an end like that for Ben Jenkins, for Ben Colburn.
Yeah, absolutely. So those three continue on. 5 minutes remaining. I've got a feeling we will see this one to about 80% before we then see the change from safety car to another flag we will go with. So the safety car continues around in towards Shell Oil's hairpin, and it does mean that it's more hats off as well to Alpine and the craftsmanship to prove that they have built an incredibly strong race car that Ben Colburn can get out. Rather frustrated, but that is hopefully the only sort of pain that he is feeling. Rather shaken, I am sure, but yeah, brilliant work by the marshals, brilliant work by the circuit staff for getting on the scene so quickly. Making sure he is okay. He will go back debrief with the medical staff as well, of course, purely as a precaution. It doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong, but after any contact, so sort of heavy contact with another car or a barrier, the precaution is go to the medical centre, because you don't know. It's just in case. So he will wander over there. Get to the all clear, I am sure, and then go to Westbourne Motorsport to probably apologise. That's the weird thing. You never do it on purpose. Having been unfortunate enough to be in a similar situation before, the first thing you do is apologise, and you haven't done it on purpose. But you know that it is just the right thing to do. But those three working their way through and past you. Nicky Taylor, he's eager to get this underway, isn't he? You can just tell he's weaving left and right. So too, actually, is Dara Flock quite sort of aggressively, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess they are weaving quite vigorously. I'd imagine Dara Flock's probably keener than Nicky Taylor to get the race underway, but it seems quite a long shot, really.
No, it does say checkered flag as well on my TSL timing screen. The clock continues to tick down, but I don't know whether the safety car is just going to lead them over the line to get them classified in these relative positions. And then what we can do is go through the order of play for the rest of today, but they're just working their way underneath the Warwick Bridge towards the line and back towards me in a few moments' time. But arguably, you've had the best seats in the house throughout today, haven't you? Some of the racing you've seen is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, it's the best view in the house, Knickerbrook. If anyone's not been down here to come and watch, then it's a fantastic view. You can see them coming through Cascades, down Lakeside, which is obviously a really long straight, and then they come back over Hilltop, which is another really fast straight, into the braking zone down here at Knickerbrook, into the Hislop chicane, which is quite a fascinating chicane. There's lots of overtaking here. There's lots of different lines the drivers can potentially take, and then you go back up Clay Hill, where if you've got any sort of edge, you can also overtake up Clay Hill, which is another great place to watch. No. So it's brilliant down here.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very fortunate place to be. But yes, the checkered flag has come out, meaning that Nicky Taylor does take the win under the circumstances he would not have liked. Rest assured, he will not have liked to have won a race under those circumstances. But Nicky Taylor wins ahead of Dara Flock, and Ben Jenkins rounds out your podium. And Ben Colburn finishes in 4th place. We'll go with that. Ben Colburn does finish in 4th place for me, absolutely. So the cars working their way back up back through the section of circuit near you. They're taking the shortcut on the Foster circuit. I've got to run over to the podium so I can grab a word with those top three.
Excellent. So, once they've got this car cleared up, then we will move on to our 12th race of the afternoon. It's the Legends Cars Championship. You'll see 37 cars in action. It'll be another exciting race, I can guarantee that. And that's due to be off at 5 o'clock. And we've got 20 minutes between there now, so it might even go off on time. We'll be back with the grid for that very shortly.
So the Superkarts still there in pit lane awaiting the restart of their second race. The safety car with Ben Edwards, the Superkart clerk of the course, I think has gone out on circuit just to inspect the barrier repairs I think that are going on at the moment down at Cascades. So the latest thing is that I think that we're going to go for a 5-minute Superkart restart, which based on them doing 1 minute 35, 1 minute 40 laps, it's probably going to be a 3-lap dash, so that's all to play for in this second race. And not sure on the grid positions at the moment. It looks like it's going to be, well, someone said it was going to be a count back of 2 laps, but I think in fact in that first part of the race they only did 2 laps anyway, so that makes it slightly confusing. But I think if they've gone back 1 lap, Matt Robinson is currently sitting on pole position, and as Matt said to me, well, I'm sitting down here and I'm going to keep my pole position for as long as I can. So as it lines up in the pit lane at the moment, it's going to be Matt Robinson, then the GP of Lee Harpham, the 2 kart of Liam Morley, the 55 of Ross Witherow. That Ross missed his braking point on that opening lap into the Hislop chicane, but managed to come back on track. So Ross Witherow sitting there in 4th place on the grid, with then the 87 of Jack Tritton. And then we come to the mono class, and it's the 101 of Lee Plain, just ahead of his championship rival, the S1 of Paul Platt. Then we've got the 3 kart of Carl Hume, and then it's the other championship hopeful in the mono class, the 35 of Samantha Hemschel. So for championship still to be decided, it's the 101, the S1 and the 35 karts that perhaps you need to keep an eye on, folks, around the circuit as to how it unfolds. Coming into this race, I say Paul Platt had an advantage over Lee Plain of 7 points, but drop scores will start to come into play. I think we worked out that if Paul Platt won both races, because he's got to drop scores, he can theoretically only score a maximum of 40 points, whereas Lee Plain would be adding to his scores because he's already dropped points during the year. So potentially by finishing second twice, Lee Plain would gain 50 points, and that would give him the Super Series by 3 points. But we'll see how this second race unfolds, and I think the mono class will all be decided on the final race. I'm not sure if you understood all of that, James.
Well, I can say that Ben Colburn's Renault is being taken on a flatbed trailer through Knickerbrook. Meanwhile, down at Lakeside we have a whole group of marshals.
Yeah, I think it's all down to do with barrier repairs.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can see the flatbed, yeah, on the streaming coming through. So obviously the car now being removed, but it's a case of perhaps repositioning the tyre stacks to make sure that the clerk of the course and everybody's happy that karts can be released onto the circuit, and that they'll have a safe circuit to use.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more difficult than that, because there wasn't actually any tyre stacks right where Ben Colburn went off, which was partly why he had such a huge collision. So he's caused a significant amount of harm to those barriers. There's about 10 metres worth of Arco that's significantly bent.
Right.
So we've got a full-size JCB, which I think is, well, it's not exactly sure, but it seems to be trying to take that piece of,
bend it back in the right slot.
Perhaps, or try and certainly maybe take that section of Arco out. I don't know, but there's quite a lot of activity right where Ben Colburn went off.
And because the problem is now that we start ticking towards the rest of the race program, and we've still got, after this race, another Clio Cup race, the Legends final, and then the 750 Motor Club Hot Hatch, and then hopefully the final Superkart race. But So the Clio Cup race should have been underway by 4:30, and we're now looking at 5 to 5. So curfew, I think, as I understand it, is 6:30 here at Oulton Park.
Yeah.
So we could be either getting reduced race distances for the rest of the day. Obviously, our superkart race has already been reduced now to 5 minutes.
Well, don't worry quite so much, because the Clear Cut race is the race that's just happened.
Oh, sorry, yes, because we went ahead one, didn't we? So
We're not actually behind yet.
No, so
we are going to be behind,
so
but we're not behind yet.
Yeah, the Legends should have started. That's right, at 5 o'clock. So yeah, there's still a possibility that we can get full race distances done for the remaining races of the day. There's people shaking their heads at me down in pit lane, saying they don't think we're going to get a full race in for the final race, but.
Well, it looks like pragmatism may well have prevailed, because the JCB and both vans have all now moved away from the Arco barriers.
Yep.
It looks like someone in race control might now be happy with the Arco. So, well, hopefully we'll find out very shortly.
Yeah, I can see. I've just picked up on the live streaming as well that the van that was down by the barrier repair has left the scene. So driver's still not in the cart. So obviously there'll be a frantic blowing of whistles, I suspect, fairly soon. I assume that the safety car is probably out on track doing an inspection, because he's certainly not in the pit lane at the moment.
Well, good news, they seem to have straightened the Arco, so we now seem to have a clear track. There's no vehicles on it at all other than the safety car. Marshals have all retreated to their marshal posts, so the safety car's going around to check the track's clear, I think.
Now I can see down the pit lane frantic work going on. Now is that John Busby's cart, the 50 cart, fitting a new nose cone? So I suspect in that first part of the race that, or was that Tom Hatfield went off? Because I can't see Tom actually in the first part of the pit lane snake. And yeah, looking further down, actually yes, so John Busby is halfway along the grid, so I think that might be the 29 car of Tom Hatfield that had a bit of an off in that first section. Obviously because it's going for a full restart, James, then obviously anybody that did drop out in that first 2-3 laps that we managed to get going, that they can take this full restart. The course car has come back into pit lane the wrong way. Ben Edward, the superkart clerk of course, stepping out, so I think he's happy that things are going. Just trying to give a quick update to all the drivers. Unfortunately I'm up here now, so I can't actually hear what's being discussed, but all the drivers being called to the front of the pit lane, as we can see that on the live streaming footage for the final instructions. So Bennett is addressing the drivers in the pit lane at the moment. The gentleman you can see on the screen with the Patronus on the back of his jacket. He's the man that makes the decisions with regards to red flag, safety cars, what the starting procedure is going to be. Looking at the fact that a lot of drivers are putting crash helmets back into the seats of their karts, it looks as if we are not going to get this restart done. There's a few drivers turning away, and I think it's a case of we possibly scrap this one and try and get a full 12-minute race later on in the day. So the JCB returns to its parking slots just at the end of the pit lane as the drivers, I suppose, disappointingly trudge off back to their karts in the pit lane, and certainly, yep, there's going to be no further restart for the second superkart race as the karts are being pushed away. So the next track action, I think, is going to be the final for the Legends, which was due to go off at 5 o'clock, which in fact is in 2 minutes time. So I think, James, that could put everything back on track as regards the timing. So I don't think there's any reason why the remaining races for today won't run there at their full distance.
Fingers crossed, yeah, hopefully we're able to get on track and